Hello everyone, welcome once again, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Well, my name is Vikas and I'm the marketing manager at Kelton Tech. Well, in today's webinar, Ram will help us understand the importance of having the integration strategy, roadmap and architecture that will drive and meet the enterprise digital transformation goals and objectives. Well, to give a brief info about Ram, Ram is the Vice President DC, a digital connected enterprise with Kelton Tech, more than 19 years of experience in software industry. And Ram acts as an advisor and strategist providing valuable insights in the areas of digital transformation, integration, ITPM and solution engineering. Well, before I pass it to Ram, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you have any questions, you can just drop in a message on the control panel on GoToMeeting, and these questions will be answered at the end of the session. And we also schedule a 5-minute question answer session at the end. And let me also tell you that this call is being recorded, and this recorded version will be available and will be dropped as an email to you once the session is completed. Now let me just directly move it to Ram. Ram, we have a beautiful audience right over there, and we are excited to learn more about digital reference architecture, and the floor is all yours.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Vikas. Hello, everybody, and welcome onto this webinar series. And thank you very much for your time this morning or the afternoon. Before I dive into the topic of today, which is digital reference architecture, I would just like to take a couple of minutes to just introduce Kellton Tech at a high level on who we are and what we are. Of course, the topic today is digital transformation and how digital reference architecture works through it. But we know digitalization is nothing but disrupting businesses operations as never before, and by 2020, Gartner says pretty much everybody either are on a path for digital transformation or are becoming digital fast. So we are a born digital IT services company helping enterprises harness the power of digital disruption within their highly challenging digital initiatives with unmatched speed and agility. So we consider a disruption like digital will spare no industry, including our own services industry. So we have to be innovative in where we are as well. Quickly on what we do, we have a very focused digital transformation capability and teams that harness the power of digital technologies and data to create your competitive advantage against your competition. We have a very strong capability and portfolio of services under digital connected enterprise, which primarily deals with everything to do with systems of integration and systems of insight and analytics and things like that. We also have extensive expertise in enterprise solutions, specifically SAP and other ERP systems, but also into SaaS like Salesforce, SuccessFactors, and Hybris as well. We also provide full-fledged professional services for subject matter experts in many IT disciplines, and also provide what we call outsourced product development for high-moving or high-fast or high-speed digital systems, especially on the open source. Quick facts on our company. We're 24 years old long, and 93. We founded in 93. We have offices in U.S., Canada, India, and Ireland. But majority of our business comes out of the U.S. market. We have clientele from all the way from startups to Fortune 500. We have almost 1,200 plus. I think it's 1,300 plus now in the employee size globally. Quickly digging deeper into the digital connected enterprise services and solutions. First and foremost, we extensively provide transformation and strategy and reference architecture strategy and advisory services for middleware and digital transformation. Of course, on the capabilities on the middleware and digital connector enterprise, it revolves around the core integration capabilities surrounded by BPM and process capabilities, also into analytics and big data analytics and decisions capabilities, but also focusing on cloud enablement and SaaS adoption for many enterprises and our customers. We support multiple technologies, but I think it is important to understand we partner with some of these technology vendors with very strong forces. We get involved with this technology at the beta level, sometimes with their product development, helping them enhance their product growth as well and future direction. We have a good gilded armory of certifications, alliances, and recognitions. Definitely, our people are of a top quality. We have offshore capabilities out of Hyderabad and also in Ireland, where we can bring down our total cost of ownership for many services, including OPD, outsourced product development, where most digital systems need to be in the future. Going to our topic today, so what we would be talking about today is, understand what digital transformation actually means, and I'm sure it means a lot of things to a lot of people, but we'll try to regain the focus to a few things that are important to us. And we'll talk about what a digital reference architecture is or what it should encompass. We'll talk about, say, a little bit of portfolio management. Once we decide some of these applications and IT applications need to change, how would you embark upon such IT changes, especially in a digital drift? I call it a drift because in a transformation, I will talk about that in the next slide. We'll also talk about high-speed IT, or how digital systems need to evolve into systems of DevOps and why they will move at high speed. We will talk about multi-speed IT, what that means and how integration and connectivity architecture will actually be the modus operandi of enabling such a multi-speed IT. We will talk about bimodal IT and what are the considerations for bimodal IT, which supposedly will bring about digital innovation in much faster sense. And finally, we'll talk about the reference architecture, our own process and methodology, and what kind of outcomes they deliver as well. So going to the question, what is digital transformation, right? I mean, a lot of times, as I said, for every customer, the answer could be different. But when we look at some of the popular surveys that have been done in the last few years, of course, digital customer and user experience and being able to leverage those enhanced experience to increase one's productivity and loyalty and revenues is the first and foremost objective of many businesses. So definitely, most businesses, the first question when you ask is they say, yes, digital customer experience and enhancing the digital customer experience is the first and foremost objective. Second is, of course, transforming business processes to reduce the costs. So, for example, right now, if you're talking about those enterprises which are not young or born digital, those enterprises which have a lot of legacy IT, now what does digitization mean for them is first and foremost to reduce the overall cost and improve the productivity of many of these systems, including supply chain integration and offering differentiating offerings for their partners and supply chain. Also, simplifying service management to reduce complexity, solve issues before they occur. That is predicting and predictive analytics, but also optimizing infrastructure for operations to improve agility. So optimizing infrastructure, like increasing the capabilities of these systems to cater to digital demand, maybe putting them into memory, and all of those aspects of optimizing the infrastructure is very important to meet some of those digital demands. But I think most important, that factor that also is picked in many surveys is to leverage analytics, real-time analytics, big data analytics, and whatever form of analytics, whether they are on the edge or within our enterprise against enterprise IP data. These analytics are the core for everything digital in the future, especially such insights that will allow you to monetize your IP. Those are the top goals. I mean, there could be many other goals and objectives of digital transformation, but these are the top 5. Now, how do these goals or objectives transform into IT goals? When we say digital customer experience, we need to establish new digital commerce and marketing platforms that can enhance digital commerce. We should change business and IT culture towards bimodal IT that leads to innovation. And I'll talk about how bimodal leads to innovation as well. We need to establish rapid integration and connectivity architecture paradigms that allows for multi-speed IT, and I'll talk about that a little bit as well. Now, from the previous slide, I'm just converting the business objectives into IT goals here. So from business goals, these are the IT business objectives, these are the IT goals. So enabling cloud or adopting SaaS, moving some certain infrastructure into cloud, adopting AWS, or moving certain ERP modules into SaaS adoption, like Salesforce, ServiceNet, Kronos, Workday. All of that is enabling cloud and adopting SaaS. And over a period of time, if we allow our business to adopt SaaS much more with much more nimbleness and agility, that is the first and foremost IT quality that the business would want for their ITs to evolve to is agility and nimbleness. And that's the first and foremost objective for many customers as well. Employing big data and big data analytic solutions that can bring about what we call monetizable insight from the digital touchpoints. That is first and foremost a technical objective that some of our systems have to meet as well. Now, how do these IT goals will translate into initiatives? That is where our digital reference architecture becomes important. So the digital reference architecture accomplishes IT goals as part of that digital transformation. And what should it do? First and foremost, we talked about the IT portfolio management itself. We have to redefine how we do IT portfolio management for the digital drift. Of course, digital transformation, just like any other business and IT transformation that came about in the last many years, every organization at some point had gone through some form of business and IT transformation. So how is this digital transformation different? Unlike other business and IT transformations, now the digital drift actually concentrates a lot more on how we even look at our IT portfolio itself. It also is very important to change our organizational and IT culture sometimes to adopt the bimodal IT and DevOps IT. Those are sometimes not only technology enablement or bringing about our technology to that level, but also it a lot more means about bringing about a change in our IT and people, process, and culture as well. So that's a very important aspect to recognize, that it's not just the technology, it's also the culture. We need to establish high-speed digital systems, and I'll talk about why they're called high-speed digital systems and how they're different, and what is the difference between a systems of engagement and a systems of differentiation. They are the same sometimes, but there are subtle nuances on how we approach them. I would like to also mention that the digital reference architecture should take care of the most important aspect of a digital IT, which is the integration layer. And I think in my title for this webinar, I said the integration and middleware is the killer app of the digital world. I can't be more right when I say that, because connectivity and integration will enable that multi-speed IT. And what is multi-speed IT? We'll talk about that a little bit as well. When we have high-speed digital systems and low or steady speed legacy IT or core IT, that in itself is a multi-speed IT, and even to sustain such an IT, you need a middleware that can bridge the gap. So that middleware and what kind of an architectural paradigm should that middleware embark upon to enable such a multi-speed IT is what we will discuss as well. Also, some of those IT goals from the digital transformation is SaaS adoption, cloud enablement. Cloud enablement from optimizing the infrastructure of the core IT, but also SaaS adoption. Actually, most businesses and enterprises, when they first adopted SaaS products, maybe 5-6 years ago, Salesforce was the proponent who came into the market with force. 5 years ago, it was a trial period for most businesses to adopt SaaS. Now it's become a reality. Now it's become a mandatory, especially in a digital transformation scenario. The adoption of SaaS gives business a lot more agility in being able to make decisions to adopt one technology over the other and change technology rapidly as well. Now the onus comes back onto the middleware that will enable SaaS integration and connectivity across applications in the cloud. And that agility, or the architecture that determines SaaS integration and cloud enablement, is very crucial to ensure your IT is still agile and nimble as demanded by the top goals of digital transformation. But also optimization of core IT. For example, we might have legacy IT, we might have ERP systems. They've been developed and designed to meet certain goals or loads or performance criteria. But suddenly we are faced with digital demands. Suddenly we have a new initiative that will bring up large e-commerce platforms that will bring in a lot more demand in the form of transactions than ever anticipated. So our legacy systems are not designed for such demand. So this middleware now needs to bridge the gap between demand and available capacity from the legacy systems. And those are important aspects that the architecture needs to handle. Now, I think in the aspects of talking about portfolio management for digital drift, what is the difference in this portfolio management from the old school portfolio management? Of course, we used to have systems of record. Of course, we used to have impact analysis. Of course, we used to have asset management and PMO management for changes in across IT landscapes. But the difference in IT portfolio management in the digital drift is to recognize those systems that are systems of engagement and those systems that are systems of record. We can very easily say any system that touches our customer, our digital product, or even things and analytics can be termed as systems of engagement. These are the systems that need to move at a faster speed. Why do they need to move at a faster speed? These are the systems that our business would be interested in innovating to be relevant in the competition and the market. And usually these are the systems, digital systems, that will bring about the change as well. So these are the systems that need to be the systems of engagement that need to be moving at a fast speed. When we say IT moves at a fast speed, they change at a fast speed. For example, a mobile application needs to change twice a week, maybe thrice a week, to keep up with the trends of the technology, and also to keep up with our competition in the way our solutions are better. So these mobile applications, IoT applications, APIs, e-commerce applications, dashboards, everything that our customers touch, everything that our partners touch, everything that things touch, all of these systems are the ones that need to grow to a speed of innovation. That is very important to recognize. We should allow these systems to change so fast, sometimes even as fast as twice a day, or to a level where our people, our developers, our IT analysts in the aspect of DevOps are able to continuously innovate to a level where they can be the disruptors of the industry. So that is the notion. When we want to increase the speed of change for the systems of engagement, we want to provide that speed to a level where our citizen developers and bimodal IT, line of business developers or others can actually use componentized architecture to rapidly build concepts and POCs and deploy them into production systems on the systems of engagement, take feedback from the runtime and continuously improve those solutions and systems. That is a high-speed DevOps. So typically when we say we have to redefine our IT portfolio, we have to understand we don't want to do DevOps for systems of record. We would only do DevOps for systems of engagement. And within those systems of engagement as well, we could call an e-commerce platform as a system of engagement because all our partners and customers are on top of it. But if you use an e-commerce platform from Hybris, would you call it a system of engagement? Yes, it is a system of engagement. Would you call it a system of differentiation though? That is the difference. Is you would call a system of differentiation when you want to make sure that system is unique to yourself and no other competitor has that system. So typically all systems of differentiation are systems of engagement. But the systems of differentiation have a unique criteria to them. They can't be a product. They can't be a COTS platform. They have to be built from scratch, from ground up. So that is a system of differentiation. Usually businesses in our IT would invest into such systems when they know that particular system is the one that will take them into the competition or above the competition. Now, systems of record, what would digitalization mean for them? Usually it is optimization of the infrastructure. Usually it is bringing about agility in those systems of record. For example, a business might decide, hey, the sales aspect of our ERP is not meeting our digital demand, so let's adopt Salesforce and retire the sales module in our ERP. So that is digitalization, adopting cloud, adopting SaaS, and being able to still make it relevant in this multi-speed IT is digitalization for systems of record. Systems of insight and integration, these are, as I said, these are the killer apps of your digital world. They allow for multi-speed IT to exist. We understand in this new paradigm, systems of engagement will move at a very fast speed. That means change twice a day or 3 times a week. But the systems of record, like our ERPs and also our SaaS applications, they change maybe 3 times a year, or SaaS applications, the API releases is twice a year, for example, with Salesforce. So the solutions that you would build, your digital solutions, especially say the mobile or e-commerce platforms, when they are evolving and changing fast, and the systems of record are not so changing fast, who will provide that change or decoupling or change in speed is the responsibility of the hybrid integration. And more, the multi-speed architecture of systems connectivity can be enabled or be realized through what we call API and API-based connectivity paradigms. Of course, last few years you have seen a trend on increase in adoption of API-based connectivity, API-based component architecture, and API-based classification of assets and data as services. So the systems of insight essentially will be bridging that gap. So they would need to be moving at a high speed as well. So we don't call them DevOps, we call them continuous integration and continuous deployment, CI/CD. So we'll talk about CI/CD in a little bit, but before I go to CI/CD, I want to talk about bimodal IT as well. I know if you would want to ask, what is the difference between bimodal IT and multi-speed IT? Multi-speed IT is a mechanism where it is allowing 2 different speeds of systems to coexist, and contribute to encompassing solutions that will bridge them both together. But in a bimodal IT, it is the aspect of managing 2 separate coherent styles of work and focused on predictability and the other on exploration. What this means is mode 1 can be our core IT. We will continue to still optimize our ERPs, our legacy systems, and so on, and that will be moving at a predictable speed. The mode 2 is the exploratory and experimenting to solve new problems. This is a high-speed IT, use and throw, recreate new components, use them for short time, reap benefit, revise them, review them, and throw them away. That's the mode the bimodal IT is in. Now, for mode 2 to operate in the way that we would recognize them to operate, we have to create a reusable component architecture. That means all the assets, data as services, UI as services, processes as services, all these would have to become really extensively reusable components. And then we have to train that mode 2 IT. Mode 2 IT is sometimes, some organizations call them citizen IT developers or analyst IT developers. Now, we have to give them an ecosystem that they can very quickly assemble digital solutions and applications in a new paradigm rapidly with existing components. So it is not only the aspect of creating a multi-speed IT that allow multiple IT systems to coexist, but also bimodal IT means being able to create additional reusable digital components that can be quickly reused or assembled to create newer innovative solutions. So Mode 2 IT is pretty much highest maturity in a digital roadmap and a digital transformation roadmap. Not only from the technology point of view, you would have enabled multi-speed IT that will allow for coexistence of two speeds of IT systems. But on top of those ecosystems, you would have to build a library of reusable components, digitally reusable components that will allow for mode 2 or bimodal 2 IT to even exist. So that is the aspect. So bimodal IT you can consider is the highest levels of maturity when you reach in your IT landscapes, both in integration systems of insight and the systems of engagement. Assuming all your systems of engagement are into DevOps model, your systems of integration are into CI/CD model, then your bimodal will become a reality. Quickly, I wanted to touch upon DevOps as well. DevOps just definitely, is an aspect of continuous business planning. It's an aspect of collaborative development, continuous testing, continuous release and deployment, continuous monitoring, continuous customer feedback and optimization. One thing that a lot of people fail to recognize is it's not only about technology and IT. DevOps is also about people. So most organizations, we are familiar with our dev team, test team, change control team, and production monitoring team. Every person is different, but DevOps requires it to be the same person, all the way from planning, development, testing, deployment, monitoring, and feedback. It is just one person who does everything for each individual component. So you have to recognize DevOps is not probably a paradigm or a discipline for core IT. You can't really do DevOps on ERP systems, but DevOps is fit for all digital systems that need to be moving at a very fast speed. So DevOps is nothing but agile development where one person takes the responsibility of building a solution end-to-end and taking care of it from deployment, from runtime, and a continuous feedback for optimization. Now, most of the organizations might have to change their culture first and foremost. They have to change their rules. In some organizations in legacy IT, we know you can develop the code and also change the code in production. Same person cannot do that. Sometimes we have industry regulations and compliances that restrict that. So all those are aspects that even organization, process, and people have to change for adopting DevOps or even bimodal IT. Going back to our multi-speed IT, now we at this point understand that systems of engagement move at a very fast speed, systems of record move at a steady speed, and whatever is in the middle, whatever is the architecture paradigm that can support it, should support such a multi-speed architecture. And typically, how do we do that? Most analysts and most engineers accept at this point that API is probably the right answer for such a multi-speed strategy. Now, API could be a new term, but it is nothing different from any other prior technologies like SOA. It is very similar, exactly the same in most cases, but the only difference you would find between SOA and API is the perception of who actually looks at it and who consumes it. The perception is SOA or services in SOA world were always created or produced from the producer or the owner of the data point of view. But APIs shifted that paradigm. APIs are always, in best practice, are always defined and designed from the consumer point of view. Of course, reusability in APIs is warranted and needed, but it is not the most important factor. Agility and ability to change fast is the much more precedence over reusability. It doesn't matter if you can throw away that API, use it for a few times, learn from it, and throw it away and create a newer version. That's how fast they need to change. So reusability is not much of a factor when it comes to be able to change faster. So that is the API brings about the multi-speed IT that is needed compared to, say, the SOA or other paradigms that were popular in the past. So going from reference architecture, we wanted to talk about how that API-based architecture, or even the entire integration and enterprise service buses, how do they play a role in this digital transformation? I think some of the aspects of integration and middleware that enable digital transformation is definitely, of course, middleware and ESBs will provide first and foremost cloud and iPaaS enablement, and aspects like analytics, especially streaming analytics, connectivity with IoT applications, aggregation of IoT messaging. Of course, APIs have moved to the front end and into HTML5 and mobile apps as well. SOA and API governance, both design time and runtime, all those aspects are responsibilities of this middleware. Composite application frameworks for agile applications. This was aspect of to get you to that bimodal IT. You should be able to create more and more and more reusable application frameworks that can now be recomposed and redeployed into an ecosystem where bimodal IT can operate. We need to also include what we call enterprise class containers and scalable in-memory engines, especially for big data and unstructured data analytics and reporting. Also, first and foremost important is the continuous integration and deployment for multi-speed IT. Your integration middleware environment will be as important as your digital systems because they need to be live all the time, they need to change all the time, and need to be able to deploy in a rapid way. So your integration environment is also kind of a DevOps environment. We are very familiar with a lot of the integration functions, from transformation, security, routing, monitoring, messaging, BPM, guaranteed delivery of data from one system to the other. All these are core integration functions. We are very familiar with them, and over decades we have used multiple technologies in our enterprises to solve these problems. But these are established core functions. We're not talking about these at all. The trending functions, this is more important. We need to establish real-time analytics capabilities. We need to establish in-memory capabilities. We need to establish security for SaaS, OAuth and OData. We need to establish IoT connectivity and MQTT messaging. We need to establish governance surrounding some of these assets in digital world. So all these are newer functions that we have to be prepared to be handled in the middleware and integration layers. In that sense, just wanted to briefly walk you through some of the maturity levels, either in say a digital transformation aspect or even integration maturity aspect. Sim levels or it's from the open source group. They provide a certain guidance on the maturity levels, and the first level is the silos level, where you don't have much of a strategy in place. You don't have a robust platform or integration platform that can ease in some of the pain points of transformation. Most integrations are also, point-to-point or implemented in native technologies, and most solutions are homegrown. At a second level of maturity, still there is no strategy in place, but maybe what we sometimes call departmental ESPs or specialized tools are employed to do integration and connectivity. Data synchronization are simple patterns that are effectively employed. A lot of times, the integration platform and the domain might not meet the enterprise needs. Major portions are still point-to-point, and there is no easy way to reduce the cost of ownership of these platforms. At a level 3, still with no strategy in place, you would have an enterprise class, middleware platform in place. It might meet the integration needs, but there's little governance or design guidance to leverage the digital demands. So this is a level 3 where the maturity is componentized. At level 4, you would have some strategy in place, services are in place, whether it's API or SOA. We have a lot of proven reusability. Environments will grow stable, and people and processes will be mature to bring in shorter time to market and things like that. But we also add a lot of value-added services on top of the middleware, like composite applications, like adding a BPM, orchestration engine or visibility layer. Also adding on top of that real-time analytics that middleware platforms can effectively do when all systems are connected through them. At the highest levels of maturity, we've seen a full-fledged digital transformation strategy in place, a roadmap, and a hybrid reference architecture in place, highly scalable throughput and infrastructure that is already in cloud. Sometimes elastic cloud capabilities are in place, and integration is acting as that multi-speed, high-speed, legacy speed, and a bimodal IT ecosystem is in place. That's the highest levels of maturity. And here's the open group service integration maturity model, OSIM. It has many more levels defined in that. But at the highest levels, when you get to a level where your components are dynamically reconfigurable, that is when you're ready for your bimodal IT setup as well. So this is the maturity path that we have effectively taken many of our customers in and be able to realize a lot of the value there. So once again, why establish reference architecture? It forms a foundation for adoption of chosen architectural paradigm, whether it's microservices, API, SOA, BPM, or cloud. But integration problems can be solved in different ways. It is important to solve them using established patterns. That is what the reference architecture is supposed to do. As part of our reference architecture services and process and methodology, we produce a lot of artifacts that will become, say, guidelines for implementation phases. Also guidelines for infrastructure and infrastructure designs. We create these kind of documents, digital reference architecture guideline, typically at a very high level, deployment architecture guideline for engineering, DevOps, and CI/CD environments, ESB software architecture guideline defining API patterns, API classification, composition, Same thing with SOA and sometimes BPM as well. BPM paradigm will become very important in digital transformation as well, because the aspects of innovation and in high-speed digital systems will involve BPM-based feedback to guide you through that innovation. Also, all these documents are nothing but guardrails for all software design and subsequent implementation projects. We'll also produce a strategy and implementation roadmap, a capabilities guideline where we establish the role and responsibility and capabilities of various components within the digital environment. Also, API and SOA governance guide, microservices architecture guide. All these are aspects understanding how and which technology will be employed to accomplish some of these IT goals. Now, how do you establish such a reference architecture? Typically, what we have seen work is these are the people that need to be part of such exercise to establish such a reference architecture. If Kellton Tech says that Kellton Tech would come in and establish the whole reference architecture sitting in a corner room, probably it will not happen that way. We bring in the process, we bring in the methodology, we bring in the templates, and just a handful of people. Majority of the teams typically are from our customers who would provide a lot of insight into this process of establishing the reference architecture. So definitely, you need your executive sponsors, definitely the digital experts, especially the customer experience experts. Of course, data scientists. We will be dealing with a lot of big data. Of course, we already understand a lot of our structured enterprise data, but the non-structured social mobile data is what need to be analyzed and compared or matched up with our enterprise data to create whatever digital insight or monetizable insight that we can derive. So data scientists are very important part of the journey in establishing that digital reference architecture. Of course, business process architects, systems architects, all the other systems of records, all are participants in this exercise as well. Of course, integration architects and data architects are front and central to this exercise. The 5-step process that we have matured and over and over proven very valuable is define requirements at a high level. I mean, this is an aspect where we look at the existing domain, define a domain boundary for both the digital systems and the systems of engagement, but also to the systems of integration. Within that domain boundaries, we would establish what we call capabilities or requirements that are needed for these domains to cater to enterprise needs. And as part of that requirements template, we would walk you through a grave exercise to determine what are the criteria that leverage or weightage that those requirements. The second step is to analyze existing platforms and technology, and then provide a gap analysis between the requirements and what we have today. Third step is assess IT assets, organizational skills, people skills, organizational strategy, and procedures. Because in a digital transformation and a digital world, most likely our procedures and organizational processes might not fit into for example, DevOps or bimodal IT needs. The fourth step is evaluation and recommendations. We would evaluate more technology, newer technology, or the right technologies, and also provide recommendations through roadmap and strategy documentations that will guide you through adopting more technology or leveraging existing investments into the existing technology. The final step, the fifth step, is elaborating on the chosen architecture. So by step 4, we would have finished our requirement analysis, gap analysis, assessment of our assets, and then strategy and recommendation is done in fourth step. As part of that strategy and recommendation, we would have identified our target architectural paradigm and discipline, and that architecture would be elaborated in step 5, where reference architecture is put together, software architecture, deployment architecture, reusable frameworks, APIs, all are elaborated in step 5. At this time, I would like to maybe take you through some of our considerations for digital reference architecture, especially I think in the aspects of middleware. API strategy and microservices reference architecture will become very important in a multi-speed IT and a bimodal IT scenarios. So first and foremost, establish enterprise API strategy. Now, when we say API, API could be a design and integration pattern, but also APIs are sometimes developed within the organization itself. That means we have applications that we build in-house, or we have applications that are built on top of microservices that surround APIs. But also, you have to understand, we will deal with APIs that are not produced within the enterprise. For example, SaaS. If you integrate with Salesforce, you would consume a Salesforce API. But also you would consume third-party APIs if you're reaching out to your partners and so on. So the aspect of enterprise API strategy is being able to manage and monitor the production, that is the design time development, and also runtime of these APIs across the board. So SaaS API and third-party API integration, that is very, very important and crucial part of our strategy as well, to ensure the agility and the nimbleness, but also to be able to monitor and throttle the usage of sometimes these SaaS applications. Also, considerations as part of the reference architecture is architecture for BPM. BPM, I think, will at this point will reinvent itself in the digital world to ensure in the bimodal nature where new digital applications are rapidly being deployed and integrated and adopted. BPM will allow for that analysis to happen and will continues to bring about what we call innovation in the CI/CD world. At this time, I think I would like to open it up for questions. Vikas?
Hey Ram, that was really interesting and good to learn about digital reference architecture and its benefits. So yes, we do have a couple of questions coming in from the audience. So let me just take a few questions. Yeah, we have one question from the audience saying, what policy, processes, and planning tools relate to reference architecture?
Can you repeat that question again?
Yes. What policy, processes, and planning tools relate to reference architectures?
Well, planning tools, well, in ITPM, in IT portfolio management, or even in enterprise architecture management, there are multiple tools. I think Software AG has a tool called Alphabet. Mega is a big tool on ITPM. IBM has its own set of tools surrounding rational roles. But these are all tools that will enable you to visualize and plan for your IT portfolio changes. And in certain cases, some of these tools are powerful enough to bring about all the information from your BPM systems, from your asset management systems, and integrate them with your PMO to what we call articulate business IT demand management, or even enterprise IT portfolio management across EAMS, and BPMS. Those tools definitely will alleviate the journey, especially transformation, whether it's digital or not, in large enterprises is a tedious journey, especially when they have a large IT portfolio to handle. And as part of that, most organizations with a large IT portfolio will definitely need such tools, and will bring about a lot of cost advantage. Go ahead. Any other questions?
Yes, Ram. We have one more question. Yeah. Can we create a list of criteria to access the maturity or the obsolescence of reference architecture?
I think the question is more on, can we have a set of criteria to measure the maturity of a certain environment or a customer in digital? Am I right?
Maybe, yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. I think there were a few slides that I was mentioning some of the criteria in measuring the maturity of a digital maturity of a customer and his ecosystem. Of course, there are multiple schools again in this, maturity levels. The one I was sharing was from open source group, but Sloan and Deloitte will have their own maturity roadmap, while Accenture would have another maturity roadmap. I think for all simplicity's sake, there is only 3 levels, right? Level 1 or the first level is wherever you are, right? You're not digitally transformed yet. You're still at IT, which are looking for digital transformation. You have nothing in place. Stage 2 or level 2 would be whatever you would want to call it. A business would want to look at it. I would want to get to a stage where I can counter my disruption. What does that mean? So the business is asking, whatever is the transformation maturity that I need to reach to, my first level of maturity that I need to reach to is to counter my disruption. That means tomorrow a competitor comes in, throws a fresh idea, and disrupts the industry. At that point, my enterprise should not die away. It should have the agility to change fast to the conditions and still be relevant. So that's the first level of maturity, right? So to be relevant and still counter your own disruption. Then if you call the last level of maturity would be to be the disruptor yourself, right? That means you have your systems, your digital systems or your systems of engagement to a mature level where you are not only innovating, but you are disrupting the industry. So I would say most customers should look at these 2 levels. Level 0 of where you are right now, level 1, which is a level where you can counter your own disruption through bringing about agility and changeability of your IT. And level 3 is where you are the disruptor, you are the innovator. And that would be an ideal bifurcation, I suppose.
All right. So we have one final question, Ram. What's the value for reference architectures that can justify the investment?
Again, reference architecture as a process and methodology, we have refined it and matured it to a level that we can execute it in many different ways. Most large enterprises will take some time, right? You also saw in one of my slides who are the contributors for this reference architecture, and there's a big list of people from the experts from the IT, customers IT. Now these are the people who will actually articulate such a reference architecture, and it might take time and effort from the customer. Usually we have seen digital reference architecture initiatives and implemented and realized with all those 5 steps and produced relevant reference architecture documentation Within a span of maybe 16 weeks is an ideal time frame. Maybe a smaller organization, it can be done in 10 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks. But larger organizations can also take 6 months to 8 months to complete such an architecture. But I think it is very important to also see that you don't want to have a long-standing initiative to establish architecture. Anything that goes beyond 3 months might become redundant or irrelevant by the time you reach the end of that period, because most important aspect in the digital transformation, and it is also different from any other transformation, is you don't know what you're getting into in the next 6 months. If you can build a process and ecosystems that can counter that unknowns, that is what digital transformation means. Why we're going for DevOps? Why we're going for the latest technology? Why would we establish technology R&D departments to innovate on the latest technology? Those are the digital demands, and that is as soon as we have the mechanisms in place and the ecosystems in place, then it's a race at that point. Who can be that innovative company with their systems of engagement that they can just start disrupting the industry. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, Ram. In fact, we have a couple more questions, but considering time, we may have to probably consolidate all the questions and send back to the audience. So yep, you have been an awesome audience for today. We are really very sorry that we are not able to answer a couple of questions that were given by the audience. As I've told you earlier, we will send out the video recording of the session along with the presentation, plus the consolidated question and answers. Maybe in next 24 hours. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you, Ram, and hope you have a wonderful day for today.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for your time today. Bye-bye.